Alf, welcome back for another episode. Today, in a few minutes, we're going to look at some cards. But first, we've got a story that I thought was really interesting. Sports Collectors Daily shout out. Target stores. Yes, and this is on the back. So here's a couple things I'm thinking about. I don't know if you paid attention to this, but the Foot Locker Dick's Sporting Goods deal is now done, from what I understand. So we reported on this going back months and months ago that Dick's Sporting Goods buying the 800, 900,000 stores that are Foot Lockers. And as we know, Dick's Sporting Goods has now opened up basically a collectibles arm to their store where you can buy trading cards, and they've kind of expanded out that piece of their business. Well, are we going to start seeing basketball cards, maybe football cards, sports cards at Foot Lockers? I think that would actually be pretty rad. I mean, it kind of takes me back to my early days of my youth of where you could find sports cards all over the place. There was a lot of different retail locations, whether it was the gas station or it was the grocery store or it was a Walmart, of course, or the Kmart. Rest in peace, Kmart. Bring the Kmart back. Even Toys R Us had trading cards. Man, Toys R Us, bring it back. And so now we have reports here that Target is doubling down, really trying to focus in on trading cards. Sound familiar? GameStop? I mean, all of these retail companies that are kind of adjacent to what we do here in the trading card space, looking to go hard into sports cards, which is, it makes me think of a lot of different things. A lot more pressure on the Pokemon Company, a lot more pressure on Fanatics, Topps, Panini, and those that are providing trading cards at these different locations. How are we allocating and that sort of stuff. But in this article here with Sports Collectors Daily, Target doubling down, mentioning that they're up 70% or something on trading card sales, and they want to kind of embrace the cultural phenomenon that is trading cards. Now, contrary to that, here in my town, here locally, what's kind of interesting, Walmart, I have a couple of locations of Walmarts, they don't even sell Pokemon cards there because of the craze around these cards. Maybe they caught some of the clips of people tackling each other trying to get these things, but my local Walmarts, they don't even mess with it. They don't want to deal with the hysteria like it's 1980s Cabbage Patch doll craze all over again. And so will Target expand out what they're already doing? This is an interesting watch because Target's a huge player. It's one thing to talk about GameStops. It's another thing to talk about some of these other retailers dancing around this, the Foot Lockers, the Dick's Sporting Goods. But Target and Walmart are a whole different animal as far as just the size, the scope, the number of units, the actual stores that they have. Will Target kind of take a Dick's Sporting Goods angle on this thing and try to expand out what they're doing in trading cards? As they mentioned, they're trying to kind of, hey, look, there's a cultural phenomenon here that's happening between whether it's non-sports, whether it's sports cards, whether it's Pokemon, TCG type stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh! People are paying attention to this all over the world. It feels like an unstoppable force, so make sure to check out this article on Sports Collectors Daily. And now let's turn the camera around and take a look at some rad cards in the PSA eBay store. Friends, welcome back to another episode of the Sports Card Dad. We're going to take a look at some rad cards, PSA eBay store. Heavy focus today on football. It's football season. My New Orleans Saints start their march to a title in 2028. You thought that I meant this year. We're not quite there yet. Maybe we'll get to the NFC Championship this year. Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. I'm going to always be excited. And then midway through the season, it'll probably be a little bit more of a downward feel to the season. But we'll see. Hey, we'll see. It's the parody of the NFL. You never know. So there will be a heavy focus on football cards here today with the season opening up. Big shout out to PSA channel partner. We've got the SCD25 code for anybody that's new, or if you got friends that have never graded with PSA before, SCD25 code gets you $25 off that first submission over at PSA. It's just a one card minimum to try out PSA to get that $25 off. Keep in mind, when you grade cards with PSA, there's also the new instant offer as the grades come through. You will see now, this is different. There is now going to be, not for every card, but for certain cards, you might get a PSA offer during the grading reveal, which is pretty wild. You'll have 24 hours to make a decision before shipping home and that sort of a stuff. That doesn't change how PSA offers already happen in the PSA Vault for cards. So if you already have cards that are in the PSA Vault, maybe it's been sitting there for a couple of months, you can still get offers on those as well. This is just an expansion in addition to. Pretty exciting stuff. Also, keep in mind when you're grading cards with PSA, you can send them all home to yourself, or you could take half of them and sell them through eBay via the PSA Vault. and then send half of them home. It's all wide open to you. You can sell them on eBay as a buy it now OBO. You could set it up for auction, all the same sort of functionality that you normally would have without having to ship back and forth and all of the time and money and effort that's wasted into, moving cardboard. Now it's just kind of at your fingertips. So pretty cool stuff. Let's dive into the first card. I picked an absolute monster of a card to look at because I was just looking through the store, the PSA store. I was like, holy smokes. So I wish I knew if this was newly graded. It does have a 1 in front of the cert. So it is one of the new certs. So it is a card that's probably been graded, if not very recently, but in the last 6 months, I'm guessing. It came through as a PSA 8. It is the Joey B Rookie Prism Auto. It's the gold vinyl version out of 5. They're asking $59,999 OBO. It's a huge price tag for this card, but this is one of those just absolutely amazing cards. It does have a sticker auto, so some people are going to be like, meh, it's got a sticker auto, but this is a very cool card coming out of that 2020 Prism set. And these are types of cards that just don't really pop up that often. And so I wanted to bring this to light, especially with a lot of people high on Joe Burrow. People are looking at, can he get over the hump? But really, it just kind of boils down to the Bengals defense. I think we can all agree that the Bengals offense will probably light up the scoreboard like usual. This actually kind of reminds me a little bit of my Drew Brees Saints, watching Drew Brees, where you knew the offense was going to light it up, but the Saints D was always suspect. Occasionally we had good defenses, but for the most part, it was the offense leading the charge. And that's really what you have here now, where the Bengals have invested huge in Burrow, Higgins, and Chase, really to kind of, maybe they're just hoping, hey, they're going to put up 40 points a game and we can have a defense that's just good enough. They did get Trey Hendrickson back under contract, which they desperately needed. That guy's a beast. The Saints drafted him, and he's the one that got away from us is Trey Hendrickson, their pass rusher. Just an amazing, amazing player. And we let that one go. Unfortunately, we just could not afford him, and that was a mistake. If we still had Hendrickson, I think that we would be in a better spot on defense and overall as our team. But look, the Bengals are going to live and die by how good can the defense play, because the offense, I think we all know the offense is going to be lighting it up. All right, we'll veer away from football here for a minute to look at an Ant-Man card. This is another one that popped up, and it's asking $5,100 OBO. It is a gold Wave Edwards rookie from 2020, 2021, BGS 9.5. I am really curious where the NBA is going. And when you look at kind of who are those next stars coming up, Ant is one of these guys. You look at Luka, you look at Ant-Man, you look at Jokic, already does have a title. There's some young players that are in the league, and you kind of wonder which ones are going to be the ones to really take the reins when Steph and LeBron finally hang it up, and it will happen. It's going to come. Might not be for another year or two. With LeBron, maybe he'll be 50 years old playing basketball. Who knows? But you have to wonder, is there going to be a guy like Ant-Man that does step up? His cards are not inexpensive. So this is one that just popped up on my radar, and I wanted to share it with you all. All right, next up, we've seen a trend here, especially with modern, ultra modern, more of the kind of the high-end football card collectors. A lot of people just say like, oh, it's just QBs or nothing. Not really true. Not really true at all. I'm a big collector. If you follow me, I collect Drew Brees, but I also collect, I'm not sure if this is going to show up right. Let me see if I can make sure this hits the camera. But it's the 2017 Alvin Kamara rookie card gold out of 10. And we've seen more of an influx of focus around the black finites, around the gold vinyls here out of 5 and the golds out of 10. Really a lot of focus, not even necessarily on, the huge guys like the Mahomes, the Tom Brady's, those sell for huge money. But you also do have position players where people are collecting some of the best cards of particular position players. Jerry Jeudy kind of being a young guy that's still kind of on the rise, I think, in the NFL. And it's tough, with receivers and with running backs. I can speak as a Saints fan. Michael Thomas had one of the greatest first 5 seasons of an NFL receiver ever, and then had a freak injury. His body didn't react well to the injury. He never came back from that injury. So quarterbacks, I think, give you a little bit more, I guess I'll call it safety. Not safety in the sense that they're going to pan out and be good, but from an injury standpoint, in many cases, you'll see quarterbacks that can bounce back, whether it's even from an ACL tear or something like that. Their bodies, they do take punishment, but a lot of these franchise guys, they're able to put together 10, 15, 20-year careers, whereas the receivers, the running backs, not necessarily so. But here's an example of a Jerry Jeudy gold vinyl. It is the rookie card for him, going back to 2020. And so I'm kind of wondering to see if someone is going to take a stab. These are the types of cards that have really picked up steam. And again, not necessarily because the player is all world, but just because it is maybe one of that player's best cards. Maybe it is a great set that people are trying to put together. That's something I've seen pick up here over the last year or so. All right, we've got a gold wave numbered out of 10. This is so it's the true gold version, but it's the gold wave. It's the wavy version of the true gold. It's for Michael Penix Jr. Is this guy the guy? We're going to find out this year. We're going to find out what Penix is all about. This is a huge price tag for a PSA 10. It is the alpha. It's the 1 out of 10. $4,895 OBO. It is one of Penix's best cards, probably. Will somebody take a stab at this, take a shot? Will Michael Penix Jr. open the season strong for the Falcons? The NFC South is one of the easiest divisions in football, I would say. Sadly, my Saints are in that division, but it's not a tough division right now. It's up for grabs, really, for all the teams. A lot of people say, oh, the Bucs have it wrapped up. Not necessarily true. I mean, even though there might be one or two teams that looks better than the others, it's always usually a battle for the NFC South. And will Michael Penix Jr. show that the Falcons did the right thing by kind of moving on from Kirk Cousins? I'm pretty sure Cousins is still on the roster for $40 million a year, whatever he's making, some crazy amount of money. But it looks like Penix is going to be the guy to run the show as we head into this new season. So cards like this, man, this is a huge price tag. And will this get some love if Penix starts off hot? Another whopper of a card here, BGS 10 pristine with a 10 auto. A lot of big Jared Goff fans in Detroit, just the Lions. Look, the Lions have been looking for a winner for a long time, going back to the Barry Sanders days where they were getting there, but just never got over the hump in Detroit. And really probably the reason why Barry Sanders ended up retiring. This is a huge price tag again, but this is one of Jared Goff's going back. This is one of his best cards. It is the auto version of that optic gold, $15,000 OBO. And as Goff's a guy, he's been to a Super Bowl. He was there with the Rams, and he is a really good overall player. Will this be kind of one of these young QBs? The Lions look to be just reloaded. I don't think that the Lions are worse off than they were last year. They just got absolutely decimated, especially on defense. Their whole pass rushing crew was knocked out with injury last year, and that really was, to me, that's how the Lions got bounced by the Commanders. I don't think if they had their pass rushers in the game that it would have been as easy for the Commanders to do what they did. But it is what it is, and that's the NFL, though. That's the NFL. You can have a great roster, and it really just boils down to who's available at the end of the season, which teams are the most healthy of the better ones heading into the playoffs, and a lot of times they're the ones with success. But, man, this is such a beast of a card here. The fact that it's a 10-10, not a PSA 10-10, but even a BGS pristine 10 and a 10 auto. Such a cool card. Well. Last year's #1 overall pick. Again, we've got a huge price tag for a hopeful here, looking to move out of a Caleb Williams. It's the geometric gold out of 50. So this one's out of 50. This is not as rare as like the Goff one that we just looked at. I do really like the design on these Topps Chrome kind of throwback designs. I've said it before. It is unlicensed, which I think is just going to hurt. Moving forward, I think it's just going to be tough. When we go into 2026, then we'll have licensed football cards. I think they're planning to release those kind of March, April timeframe next year when they already have the license. That's my understanding that Topps is not going to release this year's crop unlicensed. They want to have licensed cards as being the next ones, which I think as a hobbyist, I really appreciate that, because this thing has created all sorts of issues just as far as what's the rookie card, what's not. Wembanyama stuff is kind of all screwed up for this because basically Fanatics had the auto license, but not the licensed cards. And, then Panini had the license cards. So you just have a kind of a little bit of a jumbled mess there that makes it difficult for hobbyists to make decisions. So here we go. This is a big card for Caleb Williams, but it also is accompanied with a huge price tag. I think he's playing in the toughest division in all of football in the NFC North. And the Bears, even if they are improved, which I do think they will, just from a coaching standpoint, I think that they're improved. Can they break through in this division? Caleb Williams, the #1 overall pick last year. What is a card like this going to look like midway through the season, heading towards the end of the season, when presumptively, unless the Bears really shock the world, I don't know if anyone's expecting the Bears to be a playoff team. And so what will the price tag look like for a card like this? We'll have to find out. All right, speaking of the NFC North, here's another beast of a card here that pops up. This is kind of one of the great things about, football season is starting, so people are trying to sell football cards. Well, what's kind of cool about this, though, is that brings cards out of the woodwork. And here's an example of one of those cards. Jordan Love, who had a great rookie campaign. He was sitting behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years or something crazy, 2 or 3 years. Had a very good rookie campaign, had a little bit of a sophomore slump, and now it's kind of go time for Jordan Love. He has proven that he can play in the league. I don't think anybody really questions that. This is, again, one of his better cards. You've got his True Gold that's out of 10. It is a PSA 8, so it's not a 9, it's not a 10, but this card, just given the scarcity, a lot of Packers fans out there, a lot of people that are Jordan Love fans. This one's sitting, though, at $13,000 OBO. It's a huge price tag, but let's take a look at the pop report here. What's the story for there's 5 9s of this card and there are no 10s. The fact that there's no 10s, I feel like helps this card because, that 1 8 is basically the last stop before you get to the 5 9s. But again, such a big price tag on a guy that's still fairly unproven. He's proven himself. He put a season in that was good. But it's kind of like with any of these young guys, even with a guy like CJ Stroud, who I think has looked really good, but he's still so early in his career. Carson Wentz looked really good coming out when he got going. So it will be interesting. Will Jordan Love and the Packers get over the hump with the Micah Parsons trade? Are they ready to make moves in the NFC North? And last but certainly not least, we've got our starting New Orleans Saints quarterback. It is Spencer Rattler. Let me just say this too. When it comes to the kabooms, the verticals are so much better than the horizontals. I just don't like the horizontals. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm not a huge kaboom guy, but it's like if I'm going to buy a kaboom, I have to go with the vertical. The horizontal ones are just not for me. Another big price tag for a guy. Now, look, maybe Spencer Rattler shocks the world. Maybe he turns out to be that guy, but $12.99 OBO, a huge price tag. It is, I guess, the rookie card kaboom. So I don't know. Maybe somebody will take a chance on this card. I am not going to be the one. And watch Spencer Rattler will be the next Tom Brady. Just kidding. He'll probably be the next Bobby Hebert. But hell, look, if he's the next Bobby Hebert, I'll take that. We get a few good seasons out of him. Maybe we make a playoff run. I could handle that. So Spencer Rattler kabooms being just all the rage. And this is actually one the repackers haven't gotten a hold of this one yet. I wonder why. Maybe because it's Spencer Rattler. Watch out, guys. Maybe he does make some moves down there in New Orleans. We will have to see. And that is our show this week. Thank you very much for joining me here, guys. Make sure to take advantage of the discount SCD25 promo code at the PSA shipping and billing screen. Have an amazing weekend ahead. Take care.